Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to talk about campaign prep. I'm on my final week of my final month of my dwell period, the wait period that you have to go through during your campaign. My campaign was a 3-4. 3 months on, 4 months off. And during this last month, I've been pining away wanting to get started again. Nope. You want things to cook. And the longer they cook, the better. But there comes a point in time, if you put something on the stove and it's just simmering away, there comes a point in time where you have to stop the simmering and go back to cooking or eating. And in this case here, you want the simmer time in your campaign to be long enough that it really gets deep and flavorful. But at the same time, you don't want it so long that it doesn't adapt to changing situations. So, in this particular campaign, I had a number of items. I can positively say that the vast majority of them were vectoring in the right direction, which caused some adaptation and adaptive changes. But because I've been doing so many campaigns, with each campaign you have the amount of change becomes less and less and less because you're on the path that you want. But if you don't have campaigns, your first initial campaigns will have sweeping changes, sweeping discomfort, because you're suddenly re-changing your course correction. And for some of you out there, that's going to be very, very, very disquieting. Yikes. So you don't want that. In my particular instance, my campaigns has me moving to another house, a bunch of projects that are coming into play, a couple of personal changes that are manifesting, and good things but strange things all the way around. And what I want to talk about is what I do now during the late stages of this old campaign before I start the new campaign. So the first thing that I want to do is review the campaign. Of course, I'm constantly reviewing the campaign, but the further out you get, the less you tend to review it. Unless something strikes you to make a change, you just kind of leave it alone. You let it simmer, you let it percolate, just let it cook. Then you add these things to it. But right now, there are a bunch of changes that I want to make. I want to de-emphasize certain changes, re-emphasize other changes, and alter some of the manifestations to be a little bit more in alignment. One of the things that I have said is always put these little telltales, these little flags, these little things in your campaigns to tell you whether or not your campaign's actually working. These are trivial things that's seemingly out of the blue, but you know once they manifest that you're on the right track. And my telltales are all manifesting one way or the other. It looks like it's going to happen, then it doesn't. And it looks like it's going to happen, it doesn't. When I have that situation, it looks like it's going to happen, then it doesn't. It looks like it's going to happen, it doesn't. It's like the route is not forming, and there's other things that may cause it to disappear or reappear in other forms. So I need to harden those down. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. I'm talking about manifesting the desires, okay? So what we want to do is hammer those things out. Got to do some cleaning up. I got to do some cleaning up on my affirmation campaigns. If you are doing your affirmation campaigns right, a lot of the stuff that you do is so automatic to you. You can just go down it and then just read off what you wrote. It should be so automatic to you. Read them off loud. You should. Always remember to have the things you like about you in your life put in there. Okay? Because they'll disappear unless you put them in your affirmations. Make sure there's things you like. I always, good positive ones are always good food, freedom from worry, comfort, love. In general, many of your affirmations should be generalized. For instance, happiness. Happiness can be many things, but in your affirmation, it means your happiness. Okay? There may be things that make you happy that you are totally unaware of because you take them for granted. But if you put them in your affirmation campaign, they will manifest. Another thing that you have to make sure of that you're doing is going through your fate forecasting. Do a double check. Since I'm doing another 3-4, I'm going to do another 3-4. 3 months on, 4 months off. I am going to go through my fate forecast and review it. Let's see, maybe I could do that. I'll do it later on and discuss with you later on. Fate forecasting is taking note of planetary alignments and whatever fate may lie in front of you. You can control your navigation on this MWI, these world lines. You can control your navigation, but you can't control your fate. That is a set physical template. If there's a mountain in front of you, there's a mountain in front of you. If there's a cliff face there, there's a cliff face there. If it's an ocean that you have to swim across, there's an ocean you have to swim across. This terrain on that template, this campaign template that you're on, must be taken into account. Because if you don't take into account, you might have wrong impressions about how your campaign's going. For instance, let's suppose you're in a very adversarial, totally contentious fate forecasting. Let's suppose it's like what it was for me, oh lordy, 15 years ago, when everything was going wrong. I mean, boom, 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 boom. It was just horrific. Let's imagine that. And if I was doing a campaign at that time, I would be, oh, these affirmation campaigns don't work. They can't possibly work. Because no matter what I would do, it was every single day. I was at peak bad, auspicious moments. So you have to check out your forecasting. I know that during this next campaign, my fate forecasting will be best to good with some fair. Those very, very outrageously wonderful and successful fate forecasting. So because of that, it's very, very important that I recognize that this is an opportunity for things to start happening. So I navigate my desires so that they manifest when everything's favorable for manifestation. Now, if it was a neutral or a bad fate forecasting, all these affirmations I do would still be valid. It's just that their manifestation would take longer. But right now I've got very auspicious times coming up ahead, so I am going to really work hard at making them happen. These are the ways that you can control your life, and in this point in time, that's what I'm doing. Now, what a problem for one person is may differ from a problem for another person. For instance, we've got another coronavirus lockdown here in Zhuhai because of somebody came into Macau with the illness and spread it to a bunch of people. No outbreak in Zhuhai, but of course everybody here is on high red alert, and so everybody is either locked in their communities or walking around. I'm walking around, but it's all masking up. And for me, that's not a problem. Everybody here in China is like, that's the way things are. You deal with it, you roll with the flow. It's not a problem. But of course, if you read the American media, especially Bloomberg, Jesus H. Christ, you'd think the end of the world's coming to them. They have this thing. Even children have to be tested before they could go to play in playgrounds. Face on. Duh. All public areas require active QR. Everybody. But anyway, so that's another video for another time. The point that I'm trying to make here is that one person's problem and another person's problems are totally different. So what you do is you control your narrative, you control your affirmation campaign. There are those of you who ran a campaign and are expecting results, and and it's just starting to be the end of your campaign, and it's your first campaign, and you're not seeing any results. And all I can say to you people is, remember, campaigns typically have a 3 to 5 year implementation schedule. You have to be long-term thinker when you're doing affirmation campaigns. I will guarantee that between 3 to 5 years, you're going to see many of your campaign items manifest. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen within a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Forget it. And if it's your first campaign, you're going to have to go through a bunch of crap and shit and discomfort as your life changes. One of the contributors to Metallicman, DM, started running campaigns, and suddenly his life became upended, and he's been so busy dealing with all these issues in his life. And I told him, and he knows, that, this is change. He's going to end up being in a better place. I'm telling you, a much better place than where he is right now. But it's very discomforting. And he's in the middle of the changes. And depending upon how big his changes will be, the period of change may be big as well. Always, when you first start doing your campaign, you're on campaign 2 or campaign 3, and the changes start roaring through in your life. Don't freak, okay? It's just a sign that they're happening. Sign that they're happening. Roll with the changes. But he's an Australian, and most Australians I know are very, very capable people that are able to roll with the changes. Much more than, say, your average person in the world. Of course, everybody's different, and everybody's situation's different. I've got a couple of people who, we've got a couple of people, shared comrades, who are in Europe and some of the states over there that are petrified a little bit about what's happening in their way. And there's changes coming on, but it need not be dangerous for you in your tiny communities. Asked the commander about some of these people, and the commander took these individuals and confirmed that it's not going to be so bad for them. I actually believe the commander, okay? The commander tells me what's going on, and it's not like life and death issues to me that I would consider life and death issues are very much like black and whites to them. It's going to happen, it's not going to happen, don't worry about it. You know, it's emotion removed. It's kind of a weird thing. But yeah, so things are going on okay in a general positive manner regarding that. It's the way it works, right? Now for me, later on today, I'm going to go through my affirmation campaigns again, tidy things up. Things that I don't want to include in this campaign, I'm going to light gray them out. Still keep them there, but not use them. The ones I'm going to emphasize, I'm going to do bolden. I'm going to try to pare it down so it's not so long. I can't be spending long times reading these campaigns. On particular period batches of great change, I would have long campaigns. I always try to keep them toned down now, because long campaigns are like, my ex-wife, she used to analyze her dreams. She would spend all morning analyzing her dreams. It just took away from her day. It was just counterproductive, don't you know? And of course, one of the things that I want to emphasize again is that once you get set on this road of doing campaigns and navigating, you're on it for life. Don't think you can just do one or two campaigns and let it go. That's not the way it works. Okay? That's not the way it works. These are commitments you have to make for long-term navigation. And also keep in mind that when you're doing it, this is all personal stuff. It's not that you're need to be a very private person, but everybody deserves to have private thoughts, private wishes, private desires, free of anybody going, why do you want that? Why don't you want this? It's nobody else's business. This is your own personal stuff. Keep it private, keep it confidential, make your life simple. And with that, I'm going to leave this be. I'm trying to cut down the size of the videos. I'm way too wordy and takes up too much of your precious time. But in this case, know that I want the best for you guys. I know that you're going to do very well, and I'm letting you know that I walk the talk. Everything I tell you is true to the best of my ability and what I do and how I do it. I'm kind of a transparent kind of guy. I've got no hidden motives. I tell you, and that's what's happening. I live these campaigns. I live and breathe these campaigns, and I'm a walking example of how they work for whatever it's worth. For me personally, I'm living in an absolutely stunning, beautiful area. I like my lifestyle. It's absolutely different than what I would have had if I didn't do campaigns. And I'm happy with it, and I want to share that knowledge to all of you. And with that, I'll let this go. I hope you all do well. And for everything and anything else, let me tell you one thing. I believe in you. That's what.
汪洋变得那转流流那么有味，野马跳的百米也下流走，找寻着我的名字，在经历几次对世界轮回几次，无喜无怒亦无悲无畏的样子，从来也感觉不到时间变迁。 只记得那双手，后来便抓住很久，秘密也一无所有，怎么渐渐沦为种下缺口，连绵雨天的战斗。 知识分子换几遍，看人类的悲欢也类似，在分别时总想过正直面，假身之乱早已预示，乱世中埋下的入场券，让生命也只是场测试，现在开始才是真正考验，男人的技巧都掌握，粗略搜索不得闯祸，上次我以为最高，到现在不得不被我强迫，未来也从没有想过，这世界没人能敌我，也感受不到时间变迁，只记得那双手，后来便抓住很久，明明也一无所有，怎么渐渐沦为中差缺口，连绵雨天的战斗，被谁那么拼命的守候。
不死不让我在村里待到了没？
阿如，早已对不起你，虽然从头不能带了，但是早已会带你去找你的家人。
家人。